Looking for a goalie? Two Stanley Cup champs are available. With the details, here's insider Darren Dreger. Dregs, Bobrovsky and Binnington aren't what they used to be. As a matter of fact, neither's currently in the top 50 in save percentage. But we know both can come up big. Both have hoisted the cup. So what are the chances we see one or both of them move by Friday?
Yeah, it's really difficult to handicap the chances. I will say there's a chance, but I'm certainly not going out on a limb, Gino, and attaching a percentage to those chances. The reason that it's headline stuff here is because of the decorated resumes of Jordan Binnington and Sergei Bobrovsky. Now, when we look at Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers, I think that there's also a leverage play at work here. He's on an expiring contract. So obviously the GM of the Panthers, Bill Zito, is going to further explore what that extension looks like. And if he deems that it's too rich, it doesn't fit the Panthers' future, well, then, of course, he's going to listen to the level of interest that is being expressed in Bobrovsky. But this isn't a full sell mode dump on either guy. Too much respect for both of these goaltenders to do that. But teams are calling, or at least kicking tires, and there's a long way between now and Friday's trade deadline. So certainly something we're keeping an eye on.
Dregs, we've been talking about Robert Thomas, the Sabres, for a while now. It seems like both sides want to try to make it happen, but has the possible magnitude of this thing made getting to the finish line a real challenge?
Yeah, magnitude in terms of the ask that Doug Armstrong of the St. Louis Blues has put out there for not just the Buffalo Sabres, but a number of teams. I think that the Buffalo Sabres and Jarmo Kekalainen were at least willing to go the distance in the trade negotiations. But at the end of the day, it sounded like it came down to four significant pieces, including a roster player off the Buffalo Sabres that the Sabres just couldn't come to terms with. So we're not closing the door entirely. And as we've said before here, Gino, be mindful of the fact that Robert Thomas is a good player in St. Louis. He's a young player on a long-term contract, so they're not in a hurry to get rid of him. Doug Armstrong has been fishing for a big haul, and Buffalo just wasn't willing to provide that. Now, that's not to say that the Sabres and the Blues have entirely disengaged. I think that Robert Thomas, for now, is off the table, and I think that Kekalainen is more focused on a defenseman, a right-shot defenseman like Justin Falk or Colton Parayko, but you've got trade protection that can also complicate things, so there's more work to get done.
The Vancouver Canucks are dead last in the league, and it's not even close. We know they're happy to clean house, so the vultures are circling. Is there one guy in particular who's drawing more attention than the others right now?
Well, right now it's Conor Garland. That's not to say that he's going to be the guy that goes out first for the Vancouver Canucks. But, you know, based on the level of speculation on Tuesday, I can tell you that there is interest in Garland. And some believe that maybe they'd be able to push it over the line on Tuesday night, and they weren't able to do that. Sources out of Vancouver say that it's not done yet. We know that there's interest from the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders, and there'd be other interest in Conor Garland as well. But look, Patrick Allvin and the Vancouver Canucks are open to get something done with a lot of different players, not just Conor Garland ASAP, because as we talked about in insider trading, right now the market is still very much a buyer's market with so many different players in place. All it takes is one to move. Maybe it's Conor Garland, maybe it's somebody else, but the Vancouver Canucks remain eager.
For a while now, we've heard the Leafs were looking for team-friendly extensions for pending UFAs Bobby McMann and Scott Laughton. If not, they'd be moved. What's your sense on where those talks are right now, Dregs?
I would say it's more likely that the unrestricted free agents and the top two are, as you identify, Bobby McMann and Scott Laughton are more likely to get traded at this point. And Brad Treliving, the GM of the Leafs, is continuing to try and drum up interest. And as I just said, in relation to the Vancouver Canucks, because of the market and the flood of players that exist out there, I think Treliving has struggled with getting legitimate offers. There are managers out there who think that the Maple Leafs should get a first-round draft pick for Bobby McMann, but that hasn't been realized just yet. You know, Treliving again continues to try and farm for offers, but not just on the unrestricted free agents, but on the defensemen that he'd be willing to move as well. So Treliving's open for business, but he needs a partner before trades can be realized. Still plenty of time, though, again, with Friday's deadline around the corner.
The trade talk and news continues to flow in, so Dreg, CJ, and Pierre will be all over it between now and Friday's deadline.